Okay, so I told y'all how I was gonna speak on how I felt about being attacked by a white man in this generation, 2021. Um, there is a lot of racism that is involved in this type of relationship, and the abuse is different. Like with the black man abusing a woman, he's just normally seen as a monster, because it takes a monster to abuse a woman anyway and a child. But when you are in a relationship with a white man, it is a totally different type of abuse, especially when you are an African American woman. So, yes, the part about a male abusing a woman is there, but the color abuse is what the big issue is, being in a relationship with a white man that is abusing you and you're African American, because he is constantly trying to color abuse you in the home, um, and then wanted to come back and have sex with you like a bed wench. And it was my house. God said it was my apartment, but yet they took my home and have me out here on the streets, and that's my baby. And they took my baby, and they're trying to block any sort of avenue for me to get any help as a woman who has suffered from domestic violence. I know that the state does this with black males as well. They'll cover up crimes that black men do to women because they don't want black men getting in trouble. But if you have done it, then you need to be in trouble. Another thing that God was showing me was my skin color, that people are not considering me as black. But I have lived a life in America as a black woman. So, and he also said that I was not light enough to be considered light skinned. So it's very hard for me to find a place in society because I'm not considered dark skinned enough to be a black woman, but I'm not light skinned enough to be considered light skinned. So I have experienced life as an African American woman because I am not light skinned enough to even be considered light skinned, but people are undervaluing my contribution as an African American woman. First of all, my value. I just want to say my value. They're undervaluing me in the society as an African American woman because I'm not dark skinned. And this is what God was saying. And this is vindication for me because I have dealt with this my entire life, being bullied in school, being bullied on my job by black men and black women for not being dark enough or darker. I have been bullied by the society as a whole for not being light enough. So it has been a horrible, like, I don't want to say purgatory, but it has been a horrible position to be in when you're undervalued and you are abused on every side of the field, because I was abused by African Americans because I was not dark enough. I was abused by whites and Hispanics and Indians, people from other races, because I wasn't considered light enough. And then when you have the girls who are around my complexion, God was showing the Dominicans, the Puerto Ricans, that they abused me, trying to sleep with my boyfriends and, things like that, because they felt like we had to compete with one another because we were the same complexion. And he was showing me that my hair texture caused them to abuse me, and tried to make it seem like I was in trouble for things that I was not in trouble for because of the texture of my hair, because it was curly, and because my skin was brown. So It wasn't dark enough to be considered black, but being that it wasn't light enough to pass what some may call the brown paper bag test, God was saying that I got in trouble for my skin being brown, living in certain areas and driving around with curly hair and brown skin. And the Lord said it would get me in trouble, and it did. So, for me, the feeling of a white man abusing me because he's saying that they still kill black people and, things like that. And he's over there glorifying these white women in my home and in the society. He's trying to color abuse me in front of everybody in the society because they want to abuse me. They want him to abuse me. And I'm like, look, this is my apartment. This is my child. You, your mother, everybody, get out of my home. You're not going to continue to color abuse me, in the society, attacking me and hitting me in the society, hitting me in the streets, hitting me in my home, hitting my child because of his skin color, and then people are over here trying to take up for this white man. And I just wish this entire country would just stop with the lies as far as making it seem like there is equality for all black people, because my skin is not dark enough for there to be equality for me. And, like I was saying, I'm not light skinned enough. So there is no equality in that. They are trying to sex traffic me, and I want my child. Because of my ethnicity, they feel that that's where I belong. They feel like, oh, well, let's strip her from her home. Let's strip her from her child. He felt that he needed to strip me from my home and my child by beating me the day that I defended myself because of my color. That's why he was abusing me. He abused white women as well. He has abused other black women, but because he is a white male, he feels that he can abuse any woman. And for black men to have sold themselves out to the point where they feel that you can try to have my child killed for a white man, it just shows you the low state of the black man's mind in America, because I don't let black men abuse me. I was single before I met my child's father, and I did not want to be with a black man because of their mentality of how they pit black women against each other, and they're having sex with multiple women in the society, and they have them fighting one another. They are disrespecting black women as a whole in front of the entire world, and it is causing people of all nations to beat black women, kill black women, and offer them the lowest pay grade in the community. And it is an embarrassment to our people. So I do not date black men, but it's not because I'm racist. It's because they need to change their ways of how they treat us. And God said that they are worshiping white people. So I'm not going to date a black man that is worshiping white women and worshiping being derogatory to black women by having us all sleeping with this one black man while he's glorifying white women and women of other ethnicities. Then when he does you wrong and you're crying about it, whose fault is that? So I stayed away from black men, and they were angry when they saw that I had a child with this white male, and that I also demanded for this white male to treat me with respect. And he was doing that at first, but then he let the society get to him, and he let the society convince him that it was okay to abuse me. And I broke things off with him several times, and he would constantly tell me that he was sorry. He would constantly go to jail, mainly because other people would see him abusing me, and they would call, and I had to let him know, just like I did any black male, I do not want to be abused. I don't want to be with you anymore. And you guys see how I am, like when I'm upset, like I'm only like that because you're messing with my child. I never hit Austin back anytime that he abused me. But when he started abusing my son, I snapped, So, and he did it when he got out of prison. He just kept abusing him in the home and in the streets. He was abusing me with the baby in my hands. And then when he attacked him in the restaurant, I just snapped because I was like, this white man is out of his mind attacking my child. And there was nothing that I could do. The white police were refusing to help us. The black police were trying to paint me out as a mental patient because I said I did not want him back in my home when he was coming home from prison. He was constantly begging me to take him back, but every time I did, he tried to make me accept color abuse. I didn't want to accept that from black men, being abused by exalting white women and abusing me as an African American woman. And I had not been with a black man in years. So the black men in the community were always watching and preying on us. And then these black women abused me growing up, abused me all my life, and for having lighter skin than them. And then I turn around and see them getting together with these envious black men and with my child's father, and they're all over there trying to abuse me together. And I'm like, I'm tired of it, and that's why I shot the gun, and I'm going to get another gun as soon as I can, because I have the right to protect myself in this country. I'm not going to allow people to just abuse me because they feel that they're real black women and I have to be afraid of them, or they feel as though, I'm an African American, so this white man feels that he can abuse me. And these white women were also very envious of me and my child, and they were trying to conspire to kill us in our home with these racist white men who felt that he should not have gotten a black woman pregnant. And there were other white men who were in cahoots because they wanted the baby with me. They wanted the house with me. And they felt that Austin was young and that they could easily get rid of him and then have me in a vulnerable position to where they could prostitute me and have me to themselves. I just did not want to be with Austin anymore. I pretty much just wanted to be by myself. I wanted to be alone with my child. I didn't want any more of these abusers around me. And they refused to give us any sort of benefits unless I put him on child support. And when I went to try to do that, Cynthia O'Vera begged me not to do that because Austin would go back to jail. She was saying he would not pay the child support and that she would help us. And then she turned around and tried to use that in court to steal my child after I was released on the charge